15 mistakes that new Tesla owners make and how you can avoid making them. Also, be sure to stick around as the last few will help you prevent damage along with saving you thousands of dollars. So the first thing you do with your new Tesla is picking it up. So let's start there. Mistake 1, not inspecting the car at delivery and not having a delivery day checklist. I have an entire video on delivery day things to be on the lookout for that you can check out after this video. I essentially show you how to properly inspect your car. Or if you just want a pre-made list for you to grab and go, I'll have that linked below. It directly supports the channel. You don't need it if you watch that video, as you can just write things down from that video. It's mainly for time saving and convenience if those are important to you. Getting back to inspecting the car though, despite everything you see online, there is a 99.99999% chance that your car is going to be just fine. Something that I've learned being clinically online my entire life is unhappy customers will shout their dissatisfaction from the rooftops anywhere and everywhere, while satisfied or happy customers tend to not leave reviews or counter the people with bad reviews because, well, they're just busy enjoying whatever they purchased. Still though, do your inspection. Bring a flashlight in case you're taking delivery in like a darker parking garage, and know that you can decline delivery if you find problems. However, most of the time, if it's just cosmetic, Tesla will fix it on the spot or schedule an appointment for it, free, of course. Now, the next mistake that I see new owners making, getting FSD or full self-driving and Autopilot confused and then spending $8,000 thinking that full self-driving is Autopilot. Do not spend $8,000 on FSD before you've tried it. Autopilot, which comes free with every new Tesla purchased, has auto steer. This means when you turn it on, it will follow the lines on the road, speeding up and slowing down based on surrounding traffic. This is what most people that are new to Tesla think full self-driving is. It should really only be used in places where you're just kind of going straight, if that makes sense. So bypasses, highways, interstates. Think of places like that. However, as it's a camera system, it can technically be used anywhere and on just normal roads. But just know, normal Autopilot will not make turns, stop at stoplights or stop signs. Like I said, it's really only meant for going straight, so you're not doing any turns. Making turns, stopping at stoplights, changing lanes, that is where full self-driving comes in. That does everything. Autopilot, though, is good for most people. All Teslas currently, at least I believe they're still doing this, come with a 30-day free trial of full self-driving. It's the third option under the Autopilot settings. So just mess around with it versus the second option, auto steer, and see if normal Autopilot is good enough for you. Normal Autopilot being just auto steer. And if you do decide that you really like full self-driving, well, there's a subscription for only $100 per month. And trust me, I hate subscriptions as much as the next guy. But the reason that I say that is because as of right now, Tesla does not have a permanent FSD transfer option. Meaning, if you were to buy FSD and then the next day you total the car, you'd have to buy FSD again. Whereas with the subscription, that's not an issue. You just cancel and resub. And for the people that are saying, oh, well, my insurance would pay me out, a lot of times they don't, or they will fight you on it because they take prices based off of recently sold cars that are around your mileage and what they think yours would be valued at. And a lot of times these Teslas that are selling that have full self-driving fully paid for, they're not taking that into account for the valuation of the vehicle. Now, if Tesla were to ever release an account tied FSD or allowed for a permanent transfer option, then we'd be having a different conversation. All right, so you've got your car. Now, what about charging? The next mistake that I see is people not having their home charging set up or at least figured out. I've said tons of times that the number one reason to get a Tesla or any EV for that matter is home charging. If you have home charging, it truly does become more convenient than owning a gas car, as well, you pretty much just have a gas station at your house. And I'll be discussing what you should do if you don't have home charging in just a second. There are two different forms of home charging, level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is very slow, like 1 kilowatt or 3 miles per hour slow. And while this can technically be used for a daily charging setup, if your commute is short enough, they're really only for like emergencies or being able to charge at places you'd normally not be able to charge at. Think of like a vacation spot, even though I know most vacation spots are now starting to include some type of level 2 charger. Level 2 That's real home charging. With level 2, you no longer think about charging. You know that even if you pull into your driveway with 0%, you'll be fully charged up by the time you wake up. There are multiple speeds of level 2 charging depending on what charger you get, but even the slowest level 2, the Gen 2 mobile connector with the slowest 240 adapter, can still do like 10 to 11 miles per hour, which is over double that of level 1. I currently use the Gen 2 mobile connector, but with a NEMA 1450 adapter. That and the 650 are like the fastest adapters that you can get for the Gen 2 mobile connector. And in less than a month, I don't want to spoil anything, I'll be on a wall connector, the upgrade to the mobile connector, getting 44 miles per hour or over 11 kilowatts. I'll have an updated video on home charging for the new 3 and new Y very soon. But yeah, get your home charging situated. If you own the home, if I'm being honest, just go ahead and fork out the extra dough for the wall connector. It looks nicer, the cord is longer, it can be faster. I really recommend the wall connector. However, if you're planning on moving soon, you're renting, then a 240 volt plug, 1450 is plenty. I really don't recommend level 1 for daily use unless you have a non-existent commute or it's just bridging the gap while you wait for your level 2 to be installed. Level 1s also suck during really cold temps, so keep that in mind if you live more north. Now, as for our next mistake, your daily charging limit. What's best for long-term battery health and the least amount of degradation? The more you can stay in that 30 to 70 range, the better. With that being said, however, I really wouldn't overthink this. If you need to charge to 80 to 90% for daily use because you drive a lot, that's completely fine. If you're like me and you bought a performance and you want to actually use what you paid for, or you just don't care, you have a very drive hard and plug in attitude, then just throw it on 80% and call it a day. For everyone else though, this is what you should do. Charge up to 80% for a week and see what your average end of day state of charge is. If it's north of 30 to 40%, drop your daily charge limit to 70 and then do it again for a week. Keep doing that until your arrival SOC at home at the end of the day when you're done driving is around 20 to 30%. That way the car is hanging around that 40 to 50% mark as much as possible. If you're going on vacation and you're going to leave the car sitting for a long time, then set it to 50% and leave it plugged in. Also, you should be leaving it plugged in whenever it's not in use. Even when it hits the charging limit, just leave it plugged in. It will still draw power from the wall for like basic system checks and stuff. The only thing that you really have to account for is if you have an LFP battery. These aren't currently being sold on any new Teslas, and they only came on base rear-wheel drive cars, not rear-wheel drive long range, so don't get the two confused. It was only base rear-wheel drive, and they don't even offer them anymore on any cars currently. If this is you, you'll notice that your charge screen actually tells you to charge to 100% weekly. This is for your BMS and should be done once per week. Everyone else /NMC cars, you don't have to do this. You probably should charge to 100% and then do like a low state of charge drain like once every 6 months to a year, but it's not absolutely necessary like it is on LFP cars. Now, I mentioned supercharging as your like primary form of charging, and that's actually the next mistake. Not like supercharging as the primary form of charging, but not understanding what that really entails. Can it be done? Yes, though it's not nearly as convenient or as cheap as home charging. You're also going to be waiting at chargers. You're going to have to go once every few days depending on your commute. You're going to still be in that what I call gas mindset where you get in your car in the morning, you check your fuel gauge, you're always checking, you always have in the back of your mind of, okay, I need to stop on the way home from work, or I need to leave a little bit early so I can stop and charge on the way to work. Like I said, it's doable and you still get all the benefits of owning a Tesla. So zero maintenance, price performance, self-driving, all the tech, but I don't want to sugarcoat it for people that don't have home charging. You're not getting that true EV experience. I would recommend downloading apps like PlugShare, ChargePoint, EVgo, Electrify America, just to really help out with finding public chargers and getting the lay of the land, if you will, on what it's like in your area. I would also double check your work, as they could have a charger nearby that could completely eliminate the need for you to DC fast charge on a regular basis. And at that point, you would be getting an almost home charger like experience. Just be prepared. I've seen a ton of people buy Teslas, they're not prepared for this, and then they end up selling them like 6 months later because they realize that it just becomes too big of an inconvenience. Mistake number 6, we just discussed FSD and how I'd recommend that as a subscription. Well, there's actually one more subscription, premium connectivity. I believe Teslas still come with a free trial, but the mistake I see new owners making is not paying for premium connectivity when their trial expires. If you don't know, you can actually hotspot your car from your phone, which will enable some internet connected features. But what some people fail to realize is that, well, Tesla thought of this and puts certain features, in fact, the best features, behind the premium connectivity paywall. It's $10 a month or $100 for an entire year if you buy it up front. So you save $20 or you get 2 months free, however you look at it. With that, you get unlimited data along with a slew of very cool and very useful features. Satellite maps, which is actually the original reason I subscribed to premium connectivity because I just really like satellite maps. You also get weather and precipitation maps. You get live traffic maps. You get to live stream your car's cameras to your phone. This is a huge one. You also get access to the new mobile app Dashcam viewer. You get dog mode live cabin camera, which is pretty much the same as live streaming your cameras to the car. And you get karaoke, which I've never used, but still. If you decide to only do Wi-Fi, like hotspotting to your car, well, you get music streaming, video streaming, access to the internet browser, and that's it. I definitely think premium connectivity is worth the asking price. Sentry mode is next. Turn it on, no questions asked. Every time I see a, oh, this happened to my car post, and the first question is, did Sentry catch it? And then they respond with, oh, it wasn't on, I want to put my head through a wall. It burns about 1 mile per hour and is 1000% worth it. Like, there are some people that spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars getting a Dashcam Sentry mode-like system installed into their car, and Teslas, they just come for free. Especially now that they've enabled the B-pillar cameras, there are no blind spots, so please just have this on. And a little bonus for Dashcam, like while driving, put the Dashcam icon in your dock and the setting to auto. The thought process behind this is if you were to get into an accident and become unresponsive, or in the heat of the moment you just forget to manually capture the event, auto will hopefully be a backup. The reason for putting the app in your dock is because now all you need to do is tap on it and it'll save. So it's just one button press, no like going into the menus or anything. Now, these next two mistakes are really more to just help ease your mind as a new owner. First one is car washes, more so touch washes like the ones with the big spinning brushes, the typical ones you see. Fun fact, I actually worked at multiple of these, like different brands, different chains, unrelated throughout my like high school, late teens. And what I learned is that some people just do not care. They see a car as just a transportation device, and as long as it can get cleaned without any like, major scratches or big damage for a cheap price, then that's cool with them. If this is you, there is absolutely nothing wrong with taking your Tesla through a touch car wash. The car is not going to explode or fall apart. And in fact, you actually have a car wash mode, like Tesla put in a car wash mode. You do not need to hand wash your Tesla. With that being said, however, do I hand wash mine? Yes, because, well, like I said, I used to work at those touch car washes, and I've seen some pretty crazy things that I'll just never go through one again. And it's not even the fact that the brushes scratch the car or the fact that like upper management will lie about it. Like all the ones that I worked at, all of them always had a piece of the brush in like the back room. And if a customer asked, hey, like, will this scratch my car? They would go in there, get that piece of brush, bring it out. You'd feel it and you'd be like, oh yeah, there's no way that this could scratch your car because it's super soft. But what they are leaving out is these brushes hang on to dirt, debris, and the 100 cars that have been through before your car that day with all that dirt and debris now stuck on those brushes are about to go to pound town on your paint. It's not because of that. It's mainly because of just the crazy stuff that happens in those tunnels. I've seen maintenance people trying to replace parts while the tunnel is in operation and those parts falling on cars. I've seen people get really confused to like how to put their car in neutral and they put their car in drive and then they rear end the person in front of them. Same thing with reverse. I've literally seen this stuff happen in person, like with my own eyes. Could not believe it. There's a reason why you tend to see these automatic car wash places ran by mainly teenagers. I'll have how to safely wash your Tesla linked down below along with all the products I used. It's great, especially if maybe you're limited on space or on water access, as it is a rinseless wash. Now, the other thing to ease your mind, road tripping. As long as your road trip doesn't involve doing circles in Eastern Kentucky, There are superchargers literally everywhere. Turn on Trip Planner and let the nav do its thing. It will adjust your route to pass by these superchargers, taking into account traffic, elevation change, wind, everything. And it even preconditions the battery once you're close enough to the supercharger for optimal charging speeds. All you got to do is stop, plug in, and then unplug when it tells you it's time to go. I see people that say they don't know how they'd calculate in charging an EV on a road trip because, well, gas stations are just everywhere and they don't have to think about it. And well, with Tesla and the Trip Planner enabled, you don't really have to think about it either. Speaking of supercharging, this is a mistake that you've probably heard before, but just in case you haven't. When visiting 150 kilowatt or V2 superchargers, always leave a space. V2s share power in pairs. You can tell which are pairs by looking at the markings at the bottom. For guys, just think of it like urinals. You wouldn't walk into a bathroom with 10 open urinals and then stand next to the only one that's currently being occupied. Like, you'd leave some space. Only when you can no longer leave a space is it acceptable to just park anywhere. And keep in mind that V3s and V4s don't have this problem. Technically, I think V3s are shared like site-wide, but that's a completely different thing. Mistake number 11, not getting tint or preparing to get tint. I actually made a video last week going over tips on owning a Tesla during the summer where I discussed tint recommendations and just everything surrounding tint that I'd highly recommend you check out. But a TLDR until you do get a ceramic tint, I highly recommend XPEL XR Plus. If you have white interior, go about 5 to 10% darker than you normally would because it makes the tint appear about 5 to 10% brighter. And while we're on the topic of white seats, mistake 12, not getting white seats. I'm joking, you don't actually have to get white seats, but if you do, you should probably protect them. This also applies for black seats if you want to make them easier to clean. I use this ceramic coating that is meant for fake leather vinyl. That's really what all this fake, it's just vinyl. It took me like 30 minutes. I did it as soon as I got the car and it's been great. Everything wipes right up. Is it overkill? Oh yeah, for sure it's overkill, but it's pretty cheap and I've had good results. I wear a lot of darker colored bottoms, black gym shorts, joggers, pants. And on my old 3, by the mileage that I'm at now on my new 3, I'd already noticed a lot of like dye transfer that I could not get off. Where on my new one with this ceramic coating, I didn't ceramic coat my last 3, I haven't noticed it. And in fact, when I do start to notice I'm getting kind of like the white getting a little hazy, I just take some fragrance-free baby wipes, which I just keep in the car. Fragrance-free baby wipes are essentially just soap and water, and I wipe them down and it takes it right off. Now, as for mistake 13, doing this will prevent damage. Get it? Because it's like will, and we're talking about will, whatever. Back in everywhere. I have been driving Tesla since 2021 and have never once curbed a wheel. And I owned Ubers, the easiest to curb wheel because like the tire was super stretched and just made the rim protrude a lot. And my secret was backing in everywhere. You can see your rear wheels in these side repeater cameras so you know how close or not you are to the curb. Once you've aligned those back wheels and you know that you're not going to hit the curb, now you just straighten up the front of the car and you're good. And once you get it down, you can be lightning quick. It's pretty much second nature for me at this point and I can fly into parking spots. In fact, I'm pretty sure I can park backwards as fast as I can just pulling into someplace. All right, now let's talk saving money. First, you do this before you even place your order. You use a referral or you use the military discount. Now, all of my referrals have already been used up, so the link down below is not going to work. However, I'm sure someone in the comments section will be more than happy to give you their referral if you just ask. Nonetheless, though, you should use one. It sometimes is $1,000. It's sometimes $2,000. It's sometimes 3 months of FSD. It really just depends, but nonetheless, you get something for free. As for the military discount, I believe it's $1,000, and I also believe that Tesla, unlike other automotive manufacturers, they don't have like a requirement on military. So like you don't got to be active duty. You don't got to have been active duty within like the last 3 to 6 months. I believe it's as long as you've served, then you get a discount. So yeah, just make sure you're using those discounts. Now, as for number 15, and I do have some bonuses after this, but for right now, let's talk PPF, a very popular thing for Teslas. Now, if you're that type of person that we discussed earlier in the video where you don't care about automatic car washes, your car is just an A to B car, then PPF is probably not for you. However, if you're a hand wash, take care of your car type of person, then you'd probably really like PPF. I've had PPF on all of my Teslas, but my current one, I actually DIY'd and saved thousands of dollars doing so. My previous 2 had full frontals and cost me a little over $3,000 each to get them done professionally. Now keep in mind prices will vary on location, My location, I feel like, is pretty average, like middle of the road. Like there are places you'll find them cheaper. If you go out to places like California, it'll be more expensive. However, my current PPF, which is not just the full frontal, but the entire car, and it's the stealth one, which tends to be more expensive than the clear ones, was just over $2,000 after a discount. And keep in mind, to get the same thing done but professionally in my area is like $6 to $7 grand. I have an entire video where I install my PPF and talk through the experience, but if you have a garage or can like rent a garage and keep your car parked for like a weekend, you can easily bust this out and save thousands. And that's doing like a full PPF. If you just want to get the full frontal done, you can get this done in like an afternoon as like a complete beginner amateur. You'll be saving thousands of dollars while also saving your paint from just getting destroyed by rock chips. Plus, not to mention, it makes the car easier to clean as you don't have to be as careful. The film, if scratches do pop up, just heals itself when it's out in the sun. I got mine from Dry Protected simply because their training course is like the best I've seen. Like they show you everything from panel by panel, tips and tricks, tack and slip solution, how to squeegee, just everything. I'll have the exact film that I got linked down below, along with a discount code JMH. Should get you, I think it's like 5% off. But on $2,500, that's actually a little bit of money. All right, bonus time, and I'm gonna rapid fire these. First, don't open your door with the manual release. This can damage like the window seal frame. Tesla actually put out an update to where when it does sense the manual release has been pulled, it'll try to quickly like roll down your window a little bit, kind of like when you normally open the door with the button, just to try to prevent this damage. But yeah, just use the button, let your passengers know to use the button. Get some all-weather floor mats to help protect your carpets. I'll have the ones I have linked down below. I really recommend them. Just power wash them. You don't even need soap or water or anything. You literally just power wash them like once every few months. They look as good as new. Use percentage over miles. Using miles is using a metric. That means absolutely nothing and is more than likely going to confuse you more than anything, because you know that your commute to work will be 20 miles, but yet your car will use 35 miles and it's all over the place. Just use percentage. Don't close the charge port manually. Yes, it'll probably be fine, but still, you shouldn't do it. And finally, for new 3 owners, don't leave your finger resting on the buttons for too long or they will time out. If you have a new 3 and you somehow haven't heard me talking about this yet, and you've ever left your finger kind of just resting on one of the turn signals, because it's very natural for you to leave your thumb right there, and then you try to use your turn signal, it doesn't work, like you push and nothing happens, it's because your buttons have timed out. Tesla actually released a feature. I mean, it's not the fix I hoped for, but I haven't had any of my buttons time out since this. So, I mean, hey, it works. That when your finger has been resting on it for too long, about 10 seconds before it times out, an alert will pop up on the screen telling you to take your finger off. Your buttons are about to time out. At that point, you just lift your finger up and you're all good. If there are any other mistakes that you think new owners should know about, well, then let us know down in the comments section. Thank you all so much for watching. If you are new around here and you want to see more Tesla related stuff in your YouTube feed, then feel free to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.